Well, before we tear this thing apart, we figured we'd take it for a little spin around the block, a little illegal drive, because there's no plates on it. But we want to see how it runs, what it sounds like, and we'll see what we can do to make it better.
Let's go.
All right, here we go.
All right, so I guess it's time for probably one of the easiest parts of the build process, is tearing everything apart and seeing what wonderful surprises lie behind this disgusting rattle can paint. You get to see what's on the backside of these panels, fenders, bumper, everything else that we're going to be taking apart, and start putting together that build list to see how much we're going to be spending on this thing. If we have time, we'll get to the interior and start taking apart some of that as well and doing a parts inventory there. Just a quick recap of some of the things that we went over yesterday. The hood is going to go. That's in terrible condition. Fenders, we're probably not going to know until we take them off completely. Doors sound really weird. Doesn't sound anything like the rest of the panels. So I'm curious to see what's behind that. Quarters, we're taking off. We're gonna get new skins for that. Trunk just needs body work. Interior, we're getting rid of these seats. We gotta take those out, toss those in the trash. Carpet's gotta come out. We need to see what's underneath there. We have no idea how bad it is underneath. Headliner's gonna come out. We're gonna see if we can salvage it. I think that they just did a really bad job putting it in. Back seat's coming out. Probably gonna toss that as well. So I guess now I'll stop yapping and we will start disassembling this thing and see how bad it really is on the inside. All right, so in the process of starting to tear this thing down, I just noticed something that looks like it might be a little bit of fun. So let's check this out really quick. So if we look really close right here, you can see all these little holes are pits in body filler, and they look pretty deep. So I am going to go and grab a grinding disc, flip on the compressor, and let's see how bad that is. All right, we're just gonna grab a little 2-incher here and see how deep this goes. Well, that looks like good fun. So you've got about, I don't know, a little over 1/4 of an inch of mud here. I'm gonna say that it's probably a little bit deeper right here. And it obviously goes out pretty far, this whole piece. Okay, sounds fine here. Start getting mud about here. We'll see how far over it goes. But I guess that's just one of the first things that we're gonna find. I'm sure we'll be finding a lot more than that, so let's keep going. one more bolt. Ta-da! That was fun. All right. So majority of the front end is off the car now. Only thing that we're having some issues with at the moment is trying to figure out how the hell we're supposed to get the rest of these fenders off. There's one bolt on each fender that we just cannot figure out where it's at. But I guess that's part of the joy of working on these cars, is trying to figure out how the heck they come apart. And then when you go to put them back together, trying to remember how you took them apart. But other than that, let's go over a little bit what we've found so far in the front, things that we're gonna need to fix and address. Yeah, let's take a look. So starting out, you can tell that they welded on this whole panel right here. I don't know what they did, because this looks like the OEM radiator. So I don't know why they would put it in right there, whether the brackets were gone for some reason, if they cut them out and then put something back. They welded something. It looks bad. We'll see what we can do to fix it. But yeah, you can tell, big hole here. They left the welding wire. This whole support brace right here has a couple little kinks in it. Again, we'll see what we can do to address that. I don't know if it's bad enough that we're gonna need another piece. I think structurally it's fine. If we move over, they did the same thing. Panel right here, welded in all the way across. And then it looks like they patched in a panel there, and they patched in another panel down here. For what reason? Again, I don't know, maybe rust holes. Or these guys just were practicing their welding, because that's what it looks like. It's pretty bad. Last thing we noticed, this support brace for the front bumper is kinked pretty bad right here, and you can tell it's tweaked up much worse than it is on the other side. So that's something that we're gonna probably have to replace there. Other than that, so far nothing else crazy. We just got to work on getting these fenders off right now, and that's going to be probably the last thing that we do for today. Tomorrow, we'll work on getting some of these parts stripped, get the paint off of them. We can show a couple different ways to remove that paint, whether it's through chemical stripping or different sorts of abrasives and stripping discs. So we'll go over that. From what we found over there in the cowl, I'm sure that there's going to be plenty of opportunity for us to use some different sandpaper and stripping materials. So the insides of these fenders as well look pretty gnarly. So we'll see what they look like when we're able to finally get them off and get this paint off, see how bad it is underneath there.
Well, we finally got the fenders off. There's a hidden bolt back there. Took us a little while, but figured it out. Anyway, so I'm still under the impression that this was a roundy round car at one time. They stitched in a piece right here so they get bigger tires on it, wouldn't rub this corner right here. So they stitched the metal back in here, split this open, widened it all the way down here, and they cut the bottom off of the fender here. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, and then welded it back on. And then this did have the nice aluminum moldings down the side here at one time, or stainless, whatever they were made out of. And they've at least welded the holes shut. They just throw mud in them, which is nice. Okay, so those holes are already molded, or yeah, welded shut. So we're just gonna leave the fenders like they are. We'll just clean them up and get everything looking good, straighten them out. Roll this edge right here so we don't have any tire rubbing going on, but both sides are exactly the same. Just some butchery on it, and we'll just clean it up the best we can, and so that it doesn't rust, doesn't give us troubles down the road. But yeah, it's same deal on this side, except worse. They've just stitched it, not a solid weld, all the way here. I patched it in there. Bunch of mud on the back side of the fender here, and then a bunch of mud in the bottom of this fender right here. So we'll see how bad it looks underneath. This is the kind of thing you get when you buy someone else's junk, because you have no idea where, you don't know where it's been. So anyway, it's more to do.
All right, so it is day 2 of the teardown process now. We're gonna be focusing on the back side of the car now, as well as getting into this interior, and especially getting the carpet out so that we can see how bad the floorboards are underneath. We're really hoping that we don't have to go and try and patch in a bunch of floorboard panels, but we'll see.
Fine, be that way.
Hooray. Haha. One crappy seat out. All right. The reveal. Haha. Awesome. Ugh. And sound deadening. This stuff is a pain to get off. Okay. It's stinky. Ugh. Oh, this is gonna be so fun. I'm super excited. Yay. All right, so we got about half of this stuff pulled up. They just cover the floor in, in a sound deadening mat, which I would do as well. I would just personally clean the floor up a lot better than they did. I mean, there's still rust everywhere. There's dirt everywhere. It looks like they tried to put some Pour 15 or something down as well to stop whatever rust there was. But at least it's not the Dynamat style sound deadener where it's just that black heavy goo like tar. That stuff is a nightmare to try and get out. This still isn't fun, but we're gonna try some adhesive remover, soak it into the foam that's on here, and see if that'll help pull up the rest of it that's not coming off easy. And then we'll be able to check some of these rusty areas down here, and there's a little bit in this area. There's a little bit down over here as well, and in that corner, but for the most part it actually doesn't look terrible, which I'm kind of surprised about, honestly. I was expecting worse under here, but we still got a little bit more to do. We got to finish tearing up or pulling out the back seat and pulling up the rest of this carpet, see how the floors are back there as well. But yeah, it's just tedious, which is a big part of these restoration processes. A lot of freaking tedious work. So I mean, at this point we're just gonna keep pulling this crap out. There's some stuff under the dash that we're gonna get out as well. For example, I've got the heater core over here. I don't know about you guys, typically when I build a nicer car, I'm not driving it in the winter. I don't need a heater. It's ugly, they leak. I mean, it's old. So I'm gonna pop the heater core out. We're just gonna reroute the line, and we don't need that. Just getting rid of things that aren't necessary to have in the vehicle. So I'll be going through some of this stuff and figuring out what we need and what we don't need, and then adding a little bit more to our parts list. And then at the end of this episode, we will kind of have a breakdown of all the things that we've noticed in here that we're going to be purchasing. After getting the back seats out and taking a look at this floor as well, they didn't have quite as much of this freaking sticky crap all over, but it looks like they welded in a couple panels. We got a patch panel here, here, and then without getting into it, it looks like fiberglass reinforced filler. Couple spots right here, so I'm gonna have to dig into that and see how that looks. There's a couple more little welded areas, another patch panel down over here as well, and a couple in here. A bunch of, feels like RTV, just some sort of goo right here. I'm hoping that's not filling a hole. As for over on this side looks a little bit better. We got some goop of some kind here that we're gonna dig up. Really no patch panels of any kind on this side, honestly. For the most part, it actually looks pretty good over here. But we're gonna, as soon as I get this adhesive remover over here, then we'll get the rest of this stuff off, and we'll start stripping off just some of this black paint so we can figure out how bad the rust is underneath, and checking out some of their patch panels over here to see if they look bad, see how well they treated them. But I'm pleasantly surprised, which is the best kind of surprised you can be when you're working on cars like this. It's not terrible. It's not good. It's not pretty, but it's definitely workable. So we figured that we would be able to put the teardown portion and the stripping of the car portion into one video, but with the amount of time that it's taking and all the information that we've put, it's going to be like 2.5 hours long. So we're going to end up splitting this up into a couple different parts. So to end this portion of the teardown process, we're going to actually start our build list, or the things that we need to order right now in order to get the ball rolling on some body work. So what do we need to start getting?
Well, we don't want to order everything at once. We don't need it to just have parts sitting around. So right now we're going to need obviously a hood. That rag needs to go, and then the quarter panels are really in bad condition. Front and rear bumpers, the same thing. The car this old and such a limited, it's 1 year only. It's just not a super popular car. It was difficult for us to find the parts that we needed. So some of them is going to be glass. The bumpers and the hood are going to be glass. It's the only thing we could find. And the other was the quarter panels. They make, so the 62 through 64, 5.
Yeah.
Were the same platform, a little bit different in the quarter panel style. So rather than having a round wheelhouse, we're going to have a flat wheelhouse. We got a 63, 63 quarter panel skin. And so we're going to use that. I think it looks great. The lines are very, very similar, except it's not a rounded wheelhouse, it's a flatter wheelhouse. And so we'll get those things coming, and we'll start doing some fitting, because these fiberglass pieces generally are not, they're race car stuff, so they just kind of look the right shape. You can be doing quite a bit of blocking and fitting, making sure that they line up. So there will be a lot of modifications to make them fit.
Yep. And so starting next week on the next episode, we'll get more into the actual stripping process and some of the different tools and things that we're going to be using, and then some options for you on your own build, what you could be using as well. But other than that, we're just going to end it there for today. Just remember, like and subscribe. It really helps us out. And ask questions. We always like to see good questions in the comment section. And then, of course, if you know more than us, we're always happy to see what you know as well.
All right.
Thank you.
See you next time.